What is going on, y'all? Robert Sykes. Welcome to the Savage Perspective Podcast. All right, so we have I've recorded over 750 episodes of the Keto Savage Podcast. I started that back in 2016, recording with a little Blue Yeti USB microphone in my closet, and it went from there to where it's been as of late. You know, I've had some great guests on the show, over 750 episodes. So I've been in the podcast space for a while. And it's been the Keto Savage podcast with definite, roots in the ketogenic nutrition space. However, I've brought on guests outside of that realm. I've brought on entrepreneurs. I've brought on, people talking about parenting, homesteading, regenerative agriculture, fitness, spirituality, lifestyle. I've brought in guests outside of the nutrition space. And I've obviously been ketogenic for, 10 plus years now. I believe in that lifestyle and I'm sticking to it. And I love learning from people that I bring onto the show. But my interest goes beyond just nutrition. And I feel like that's something that I can never know all there is to know about. So I'm going to continue to bring on guests around nutrition. But I want this podcast to be more comprehensive than just nutrition. As I've brought on these guests outside of the nutrition space, I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from the listeners about it. So I feel like I'll double down on that and just make the podcast more inclusive, more comprehensive, deeper. I think of my life, what I value, how I view things, and I feel like my biggest fear in this world, in this lifetime, is mediocrity. To become complacent. That's the last thing that I want to do. And as such, I've structured my life into 5 primary pillars, which I've talked about on the previous episodes. This tensegrity model, tensional integrity, basically making all things that I spend time, effort, energy on, acting symbiotically in nature to build the whole. Those 5 pillars being health, wealth, family, relationships, spirituality, and self-development. And I feel like everybody's got their own view of that. Maybe it's 4 pillars, maybe it's 3 pillars, maybe it's 6 pillars, whatever. Everybody's got these things that they want to pursue and dive deeper into and grow in throughout their life. That's how we grow. That's how you avoid mediocrity and complacency. And with this rebrand of the podcast, the Savage Perspective Podcast, I want to double down on all of those pillars and just go deeper. I'm going to start doing all video format going forward. So from here on out, every podcast is going to be video. Whenever possible, I'm going to have guests come here on site and record in person because I got this cool new podcast studio. And I want to, if time permits, build a relationship with them before we record so that we can just start the podcast more comfortably together and just go deeper than you're typically going to get on a standard 45-minute or hour-long Zoom recording. Obviously, I can't do that with every guest, so there will still be, virtual recordings, but they will all be video. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on all the podcasting apps, but we're going to go deeper. Obviously, nutrition and fitness plays a very strong role in my life, so that's going to be, many episodes are going to be focused on that, but I'm going to actively pursue experts in other fields and just broaden the scope of this podcast. I feel like the Savage Perspective rebrand makes sense because I want to see what the perspective of these masters in their craft take throughout their lives to reach the next level and level up in life. So breaking down those 5 pillars, obviously health and nutrition, we're going to still bring on guests that, deep dive on that to improve fitness, functionality, training, modalities, all that good stuff, kind of like as I have done up to this point. I'm going to focus on bringing more guests on with an entrepreneurial wealth, centric focus. There's so many things happening and all the different businesses that I operate that I'm super excited to talk about. And it's felt kind of out of place to talk about it on the Keto Savage podcast. But I want to bring y'all behind the curtain and show you about all the different things that's going on with my multiple different businesses. And help people that pursue that and want to rise to the next level in their ventures. Like I want to give them tools to do so. From a self-development standpoint, there's so many things that I'm working on. Parenting. We got another kid on the way. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about homesteading. I want to talk about hunting. All these skill sets that I put value in that I think develop me as a human. I want to bring guests on that can, cater to those questions and just drive more value in that regard. From a relationship standpoint, obviously those kind of go hand in hand. Like I want to be able to focus on that and improve all my relationships, and building a podcast network with people that I respect and value as human beings, having the opportunity to meet with them face to face and build relationships in there. Like podcasting acts as a great vehicle to do that. When it comes to a spirituality component, I want to do a deep dive on that as well. Like I wasn't raised in a religious setting at all. My dad's an evolutionary biologist, but I've not shied away from diving deeper and asking hard questions in that regard. I feel like as a human being, as a species, we have always wondered the big questions, like where did we come from? Where are we going? What is our purpose in life? And I feel like bringing the spirituality component into the podcast and actually figuring out where people stand on that, wading through hard questions, philosophizing on things will make for a very interesting conversation. So I am super, super excited about it. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to format this exactly yet. There's going to be, like I said, video recordings. We'll probably be publishing these every Monday and Wednesday, potentially even a smaller episode on Friday that's kind of more in-house, just things that I've got going on. Not quite sure yet. We're still working out the details on that, but I'm incredibly excited about where this podcast is going to go. And I think by rebranding to the Savage Perspective, it just fits with having a more comprehensive, broad spectrum focus on things. I want to be able to go very deep on everything and not just simply cast a wide net, but by bringing in these other elements of life that I think we all put value in, I can do so with this rebrand and it be more streamlined and flow better. So I am very excited about it. This is going to be the kickoff of the Savage Perspective podcast. If there are any particular guests that you want me to bring on the show and do a focus on, by all means, let me know. I've never really been one that has, said, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, or write a review, whatever, on the podcast. But now that we've actually switched our hosting provider as well, I can read those comments, and I will be fashioning the episodes based off of those comments. I'll be answering questions that come in through the comments. So I want this to be engaging. I feel like I'm going to be asking questions that I personally want to know the answers to, that y'all would also benefit from as well. And the podcast is likely going to become a little bit more long form in nature. That's the beauty of podcasting in general. Like with Instagram and, X and TikTok, everything's so short. You get the highlight reel, you get all these, over-sensationalized blips of information. I want the podcast to go deep. I want the podcast to make for a long-form conversation where you can get to the heart of the matter and actually come out the other side better for it. So that is the direction things are taking. This is kind of the maiden voyage of this new formatting. I've got a few podcast guests that were already scheduled that I'll be rolling out as well. So this will be kind of a gradual shift, but starting with this one going forward, they will all be video. So yeah, I'm super excited to say the least. I can't thank y'all enough for being along with me on this journey up to this point. 750 plus episodes in. This has been one of the things that I've consistently done without fail every single week, and I'm just honored that I've got an audience that's willing to listen. So I want to make y'all as front row seat with this as possible, engaging as possible. So truly do let me know what your questions are. Let me know what guests you'd like me to bring on. Let me know what topics you'd like me to cover in depth, and we will all learn together. Appreciate y'all.